In 2013, Canadian student Elisa Lam arrived at Los Angeles, checked into the Cecil Hotel, and mysteriously disappeared. However, security cameras recorded the girl's strange behavior, and a few weeks later, her naked body was found on the roof of the building in a tank of water. Police reported that the lid of the tank was closed, something impossible to do from within the tank. Today, I will tell you about one of the most mysterious incidents of the 21st century. Look at this video that LA police posted on the internet. Here, Elisa Lam behaves very strangely. The footage shows how the girl enters the elevator. She then randomly presses several buttons, but nothing happens. She stands in a corner, looks out of the elevator, hides, goes out, gesticulates with her hands, and then goes into the corridor and finally disappears. At the end of the 4-minute video, the elevator doors close. This video blew the whole internet and web case conjecture, and investigation has become truly massive. It was then that many learned about the strange fate of the Cecil Hotel. By that time, it was already called the Hotel of Death. A lot of attention was paid to the strange video from the elevator. It was examined literally frame by frame and realized some interesting details and answers. For example, it was determined that the elevator was on the 13th floor, but since this number is considered unlucky, this floor is called the 14th. They also answered the question why the elevator was open and did not go anywhere. This was explained by pressing the Keep Doors Open button. Elisa's strange behavior was explained by hallucinations after taking drugs. She could go to the roof in 2 directions, inside the hotel, up the stairs, through the service door, but then the alarm siren would go off for their staff. The second way is through the fire escape outside the building, for which it is enough to open a window in the corridor. The second option is considered the most likely. The drug-taking theory explained Elisa's strange behavior in the elevator, as well as the motivation to hide in the water tank. However, to confirm this version, it was necessary to find traces of a drug in her blood, and the official medical examination was in no hurry to publish the results of the tests. At the same time, the conspiracy theories were developed on chat forums involving hotel workers or law enforcement officers and even the government. The core of these conspiracy theories that the various people or agencies were involved in the murder of the girl, and they're trying to cover their tracks. At that time, an outbreak of a resistant strain of tuberculosis was recorded in the Skid Row area, so the test for the presence of this tuberculosis was abbreviated as Lam-Elisa. From here, suspicions arose that biological weapons were tested on Elisa Lam, and they killed her so that she would not tell anyone about it. Internet theories are certainly wide-ranging. This is Los Angeles, the city of angels. Walking through downtown Los Angeles on a sunny day between gleaming tall buildings and expensive bars and shops, it's easy to miss that you're near the infamous Skid Row neighborhood. Almost 5,000 homeless people live here. Almost all of them have money problems, problems with drug addiction, and mental illness. But it wasn't always like that. Until the middle of the 19th century, Los Angeles was under the rule of Mexico. You can see it in the architecture, in the street names, in the restaurant menus. Then, the territory was taken by Americans, and people from the eastern part of America began to come by railroad here to earn money. This is where Hollywood is located. In 1924, about 10 kilometers from Hollywood, the Cecil Hotel opened. The building consisted of 14 floors and 700 rooms, designed mainly for people with average incomes. But just in 5 years after the hotel opening, the Great Depression started. Many factories closed, businesses went bankrupt, and people lost their jobs. Over time, thousands of homeless people settled in the area near the Cecil Hotel. Drug addicts, alcoholics, the mentally ill, ex-convicts, and so on. The disadvantaged area was named Skid Row. In fact, The police brought homeless people from all over Los Angeles to Skid Row in order to clean up other areas of the city. It contrasted the millionaires and celebrities on one street border and the tens of beggars on another street. Of course, the bad name of Skid Row soon affected the reputation of the Cecil Hotel, and dubious personalities became its main visitors. The guests in the rooms committed suicide, used drugs, robbed, raped, committed murders. At least 8 people fell from the windows by accident, or rather more likely through intentional assistance. Serial killers and maniacs settled here too. Fast forward to the 2000s, after another change of owners, part of the hotel was converted into an expensive hostel. Stay on Main. This meant that lots of bunk beds appeared in a number of rooms, where for a small fee it was possible to accommodate people who did not know each other. This hostel and the hotel had separate entrances and receptions, but the elevators, along with the service, remained shared. The reorganization had a positive effect on the business. The hostel was popular with poor young people. This is where Elisa Lam decided to stay. And this is where the mysterious story happened. January 2013. Elisa Lam is 21 years old. She's a student from Vancouver. She decided to take her mind off her studies and a bout of depression and arrived at Los Angeles. She chose the Stay on Main hostel for her temporary residence. Initially, she was placed in room 506 with other girls, but they began to complain about her strange behavior. She left notes on the beds that said, "Get out of here," and demanded a password to open the door. To prevent further incidents, Elisa was given a private room. However, on the day of departure, she'd suddenly disappeared. Her parents raised the alarm when communication with their daughter was cut off. The police launched an investigation. The police service dog picked up her scent on the 5th floor, and the trail only reached the window that opened onto the fire escape, where the scent was lost. The roof of the building was then examined. Next, the police decided to study the security footage. This video gives an eerie impression as if Elisa was hiding from someone. To search for community clues, the police posted a fragment of this video from the elevator on the internet. In a short time, the video went viral. It has garnered millions of views and thousands of comments. A week later, the police held a press conference at which the public was urged to help in the search for the missing girl. Advertisements were posted around the city, but this did not bring any results. Time passed. In a matter of weeks, the guests of the Cecil Hotel reported weak water pressure from the tap, along with a strange smell and taste. One of the hotel maintenance crew went to the roof to check the water tanks. This little detail, which is familiar to many people outside of the US, is from landscape photographs of the New York City, slightly outdated water system for tall buildings outside of New York. It is rather rare, but still found for this purpose. So, when the worker climbed one of the 4 tanks and looked inside, he saw the naked body of Elisa Lam on the surface of the water. The girl had floated naked and dead for 19 days in the tank. A disturbing fact was not only the strange circumstances of the incident, but also that for almost 3 weeks, hundreds of hotel guests used water from the tank, showering and drinking the essence of dead body. Dozens of policemen, firefighters, and journalists immediately arrived at the scene. To get the girl's body out of the tank, the water had to be completely drained, and a hole had to be made in the side of wall. The clothes of the deceased were found at the bottom. No evidence was found pointing to a violent death. The body was sent for a medical examination. The hotel resettled the guests in alternative accommodation and temporarily closed. The matter became even more complicated. What did Elisa do in the elevator? How did she get on the roof? Why did she end up in a tank of water? Why did she take off her clothes? Did she act on her own, or did someone force her? All these questions had to be answered. Finally, 4 months later, the official conclusion of the medical examination appeared. There were no bruises, abrasions, signs of struggle and violence on the body of Elisa Lam, which largely ruled out murder. Also, no traces of drugs were found in the blood of the deceased. According to investigators, the answer lay elsewhere. The police found out from Elisa's relatives that she suffered from bipolar disorder, a mental illness in which a person can sometimes behave inappropriately. Doctors prescribed Elisa to take pills to stay healthy, but according to the toxicology report, while in Los Angeles, she skipped her medication. Thus, according to the official version, the girl drowned due to an accident, and an exacerbation of bipolar disorder could contribute to this. Presumably, she'd lost touch with reality and did not give an account of her actions. After a strange behavior in the elevator, Elisa most likely climbed the fire escape to the roof, climbed onto the tank, opened the manhole cover, and jumped into the water. It was impossible to get out on her own. The lack of clothes on the body of the deceased was explained by the term paradoxical undressing. When the body is hypothermic, a person involuntarily seeks to throw off all their clothes, as if they are engulfed in an unbearable heat. As for the information about the closed manhole cover on the tank, it was a mistaken public comment by an individual policeman. Under interrogation, the hotel worker who first discovered the body said that the manhole cover was open. This fact confirmed the version of Elisa's ability to do everything on her own, without outside help. This incident inspired people and bloggers to visit this hotel. They tried to find paranormal phenomena. In 2017, the hotel was declared as a cultural heritage site due to the unique architecture of the early 20th century. In December 2021, following the completion of renovations, the hotel opened as an affordable housing development for low-income Los Angeles residents. Contrary to the logic of the investigation, not everyone agreed with the official conclusions about the accident. Some internet detectives keep talking about ghosts and looking for the mysterious killer. The story of Elisa Lam has become a big mystery of the 21st century, and even the official answers of the investigation could not put an end to this issue.